In June 2020, the government of India introduced reform laws. This would have changed how Indian agriculture worked for decades. The first law creates free, unregulated trade spaces outside the regulated mandis. The second creates a framework for contract farming with minimal obligations. The third eliminates the storage limits previously set by the government to control prices. A few months later, farm unions all over India initiated for a general strike. The protesters have blocked roads and rails and marched to Delhi. There they were confronted by police at the city borders. Despite facing tear gas, water cannons and other methods of repression, the movement persisted. The protesters camped and stood their ground for over a year. The effects of the reforms would kind of look like the place from where I'm speaking. I'm standing here in northern Germany, where agricultural corporations are owning on average 282 hectares of land, or 434 cricket fields in some states. The agricultural business here is heavily technologized. Following this path is heavily questionable in a country of 1.4 billion people, where agricultural workers make up half of the labor force. Also, there are rapid changing conditions on a global level, like climate change, mass extinction events, water shortages, dependencies on supply chains in a world with heavily increasing political conflicts. I'm Paul. I'm a journalist from Germany, and I studied for a semester at National Institute of Design in Ahmedabad. During my stay, I wanted to learn more about the movement and thought about making a video out of it. During my research, I already saw some really good videos explaining the situation, like this from Singh School. He basically did my job there. So I asked myself, is it really right now a necessity to do just another documentary on that topic? So I decided to focus on the media representation and what divided and united the movement. For this, I interviewed several people. One of them was Purvi Vyas, a former teacher of mine and also a practicing organic farmer by herself. She is also a freelance environmental and developmental consultant. Another person is Sangeet Tor, who co-founded the movement publication Karti Dharti, which focuses on women and Dalits in the community. She's also a tech worker and a journalist with the focus on technology, politics and culture. And currently she is writing on the history and peasant struggles of farmers in Punjab. Another person is Harinder Happy. He's a PhD scholar who researches on the suicides of farmers and their alienation. He's also affiliated with the Samyukta Kisan Morcha. And the last person is Jasdeep Singh. He co-initiated the newsletter format Trolley Times, a publication from the movement, and he's also a film writer, translator, and software programmer. I began asking Mrs. Tor and Mr. Singh how the protesters stayed their ground for more than 1 year.
They asked everybody who came along with them that, come prepared, we are going to here for a long haul. Bring in your food supplies, bring in at least prepared for 6 months.
In addition to that, unions ask women, students and young people from agrarian communities to participate. According to Singh, that's a novelty. In former protests, the participants mainly consisted out of middle-aged farmers who are formally bearing the distress in agriculture.
And they involved the popular singers to make songs about the protest, about the valor, about the resistance, about the history of fights Punjabis or Haryanvis have fought.
The other aspect that we have missed is, the lives of the farmers themselves. They are very resilient. even at a human level, to live with this kind of uncertainty which nature brings. Sometimes there are more rains, less rains. Sometimes there are floods, droughts. So going there and sitting there, they were like, this is something that we can easily do. And when we were there and we were talking to them and asking, oh, this is so cold, how are we gonna endure this in the trolley, this and that, like, it's nothing. This is what we do every day. We go to our fields and we have to stay like that.
Tor mentioned that people in the villages are sharing resources and manpower. During the protests, they organized who is going to participate in that.
What happened during the protest was that for the next 10 days, these people from these houses will go to the protest site, and then these people are going to delegate their farm work, or if a woman is going, she will be delegating her household work to someone in the village. It was a self-sustaining system, which is already built in the community. They just leveraged it for this period of time.
I asked them how did this cross solidarity between agrarian and non-agrarian community build up.
Early on, before the protesters went to Delhi, what was happening was that the protest sites were chosen very carefully within Punjab and Haryana. The protest sites were railway stations where a lot of common people travel from, but without hindering the passage of the trains. And then the second were the gas stations and shopping centers of Ambani, of Reliance, the big company owned by Ambani. And the third protest sites were the toll plazas. So the way toll plazas came up in Punjab 20 something years ago, very extractive. It's like every time you are like getting some rupees out of our pocket, some rupees out of our pocket. So when the protest sites were established at the toll plazas, those toll plazas were made free. And this everyday impact on the pocket was like the base of how the solidarity was formed later on between the protesters and the common people. For example, these were the people who were cooking langar, and they are giving langar to people who are there. Protesters cooked langar for protesters. But then there are policemen who are also these forces who just beat them up, also hungry. They also want to eat. They can sit down in the langar and eat. They came and they are eating from the people they beat up during the day. Okay. Wow. And they are serving them, all blooded. So this is the one of the pictures that came out in one of the evenings, and you see it's a huge contrast between what national media was trying to build and what was actually happening on the ground.
She also mentions that when you're a landed farmer, you own a trolley and a tractor, so you can load up your people and go to the protest site. When you don't have that, you pull resources and hire a bus driver. When you don't work at the farm, you also don't get money. This was a cost and organizational work factor for backward costs and classes Tor mentions. Singh mentions that there also have been cases of intercaste and class solidarity.
So what they do is, for those who have resources, who own land, they would ask them to contribute land and money. But those who have body, the landless labor, they would ask them to come to the protest site. Maybe they also pay sort of like a daily wage to some people, some laborers that come to the protest site. That was also part of this village community aspect of it.
Happy emphasizes that a lot of unification between castes is happening when they have fought against the state, against the imperialism, against the corporates, against the Brahminical Hinduism.
Of course, caste, we can not glorify the caste at any cost. If we can glorify at the caste at any point of time, that is only where there is a break in caste. So when till the moment when farmers, they were able to mobilize other caste group also, and they were able to mobilize themselves against the corporate system, privatization of agriculture and all. Till that, we can see the role of caste in good terms. But when that dominant caste work against the lower caste, then obviously they will not get support from the lower caste. Then their feudal mindset come on the forefront, and that feudal mindset do not go against the state, but that works against the lower caste people. And of course, there were certain movements at the previous farmer protests where certain actions were certain decisions were taken against the lower caste, and lower caste opposed it strongly, and there were some caste conflicts also. So caste played both roles in mobilizing and strengthening the farmer protest, as well as excluding space for the lower castes.
Harinder Happy and Darshan Pal published an article named Why Farmer Unions Must Stay Out of Electoral Politics in the Indian Express. There, they are emphasizing that the repeal of the farm laws has been the hard work of the farmers and laborers. SKM had a consensus of being non-political and didn't allow electoral politicians on stage because there was an overall frustration with mainstream politics. Happy and Paul are reporting that after the repeal of the farm laws, parts of the movement went back to Punjab and participated in the electoral politics. They created the Sanyukt Samaj Morcha party. None of the candidates has made it into the parliament. Paul and Happy are summarizing that farmers united in their struggle at Delhi's borders are getting divided into political parties in their villages. Happy has an explanation for that.
So there is no such at the farmers voting. We can certainly go that they are caste voters, as in Jats in Punjab, Jat in Haryana. That is where they lack attention in the electoral politics. And ever since the farm unions have come into the electoral politics, they have failed. They cannot win election by only using the farmer's name.
Mr. Happy is summarizing the representation of the movement as
the reflection or the portrait of farmers in the media is very problematic, very biased, very anti-farmer.
One example Mr. Happy is talking about is when farmers hoisted a Sikh community flag at Red Fort during a demonstration. This situation got covered by Tal Toke by C Media. It presents itself as the #1 debate show in India, and their main narrative is to link the movement with Khalistani terrorism. Their story is that farmers replaced the Indian flag with a Khalistani terrorist flag, but the truth is it has not been replaced. The Indian flag remained untouched. The protesters used an empty flagpole to install a Sikh community flag. A Sikh community flag is a pretty usual sight around Punjab and was also seen at the National Republic Day at Punjabi Tableau. Several other media outlets reacted to this false claim and correctly explained the incident. By the way, let's take a moment and appreciate these climbing skills. Climbing up this slippery pole is really not that easy, and other people would have used slings for taping. In the next example, I want to show how C-Media is distorting the image of the movement. In the genre DNA, C-Media is claiming that one protester is shouting in a recording video camera. In full public view, this man threatened that PM Modi will meet the same fate as the former PM Indira Gandhi. This is the first proof, which is a death threat. I want to put this violent language statement in the context of what farmers in India are facing in the last decades and what resources the government has. In the period of 1997 to 2012, 264,338 farmers, cultivators, and agricultural laborers committed suicide. Let's compare these numbers with the current deaths in Gaza since 7th October 2023. 115,000. The Israeli government used massive amounts of weapons and cruelty to achieve this goal. Whereas in the case of farmer suicides, this is not the case. It's the daily cruelty of capitalistic logic. While there are 5-digit numbers of suicides every year, the BJP government invested in the following. For this, the Republic spends 3,000 crore rupees or 351 million US dollars. The statue has been built as an ode to the Iron Man of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, the first Home Minister of independent India. This statue stands for the Republic of India as a seemingly patriotic manifest. With this example, I want to make clear that there is money which could be used for the people of India. Prestigious projects like these are no single phenomenon. In the end of September 2025, young Moroccans are demonstrating against the kingdom because of the discrepancy between investment on tourism and prestigious projects and the daily life of people which is shaped by extreme poverty. In comparison, European farmers didn't get dehumanized by the media, even when they built barricades, set things on fire, sprayed animal manure on police and government buildings, made death threats to politicians. They still got a platform on the media. They didn't got killed and shot at by BJP affiliated people by racing into them with cars. Mr. Happy paraphrases P. Zaynat there.
The suicides of the farmer is not just an issue of economy, or we can say it's not related to one identity. It is a crisis of civilization. It is a civilization crisis because we are not sensitive enough to understand that the person who is growing the food, who is feeding us, is committing is killing himself or herself. So it is a civilizational issue that we are not sensitive enough.
There is this phenomenon Herbert Marcuse calls repressive tolerance. Marcuse was one of the prominent members of the Frankfurter School for Social Research. Marcuse critiques the predominant understanding and practice of tolerance in modern advanced industrial societies. He argues that what is widely celebrated as tolerance actually serves to reinforce oppressive structures. National states and big corporations have a lot of resources to direct stories about them who benefit them. For example, these resources can be schools where populations getting educated in a certain way of telling history about the nation they live in. I want to combine the concept of repressive tolerance with the tactic of familistic authenticity. They have a repetition of being right-wing or conservative, but it's not as shady as a Telegram messenger channel where conspiracy myths are shared. Republic World operates in a formalistic language and design of a professional news channel. The video Republic exposes #toolkit narrative attack on center via farmer protest. Of the show, Arnab Goswami debates shows how Arnab Goswami, the host of the show, misuses his position as a moderator. In this format, often several people with different opinions are invited. In this clip, Goswami lets Ranjana Kumari, an Indian social activist, writer and academic, talk until he found a point where he can distort her meanings of her words to turn the narrative to his benefit.
No way any democracy is a democracy unless there is, from Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, Pluto, wherever you look at democracy, it has to have people who are in the ruling party, and there are people who are looking at policies, programs, everything from the opposition perspective. Now, let me tell you again, you said facts. Now, so if you are a minority, you are wrong. if I'm trying to say something that is not happening good for the gender,
May I counter you on one thing, if I may come in, Ranjana? Ranjana, I want to, Ranjana.
After this, he suppresses her defensive answers. Technicians unmute other participants' voices to support Goswami's narrative.
With
You know
Disha
something,
is totally
Ranjana?
wrong. It is totally
Ranjana.
wrong, Arnab. It is injustice. It is silencing
This
the
is
voice.
rubbish.
Let's
Ranjana.
not
She's
go
talking
for
rubbish.
This whole, now you must hear
I may
me.
be talking rubbish. I may be talking.
Goswami is trying to make an image of her which is up-nosed, and he's the one who is grounded with the people.
I don't.
You think that we don't understand
don't.
English? That, one minute.
No,
no,
I
you don't. But there are. Well,
Don't
you just
put
did.
these words in my
you just
mouth,
did,
I
Ranjana.
don't.
You just said
No,
maybe it
it's
was
true.
a
That's the
Freudian slip.
popular
You said
narrative.
no,
Let
but
me
you
give
said
you
that today in
examples.
India, if
Let
you're a
me give you
Muslim, you are
examples.
portrayed like
Let
you're
me give
against
you
the
the
nation.
examples.
How did you say that?
Let me give you the
No, I'm-
I want to present another clip of Republic World. In this clip, Goswami tries to build a narrative of a toolkit built by some international activists in favor of the agrarian community protest as an international conspiracy. This narrative strategy is kind of similar on what Umberto Eco has written on fascist rhetorics. I quote, "The followers must feel humiliated by ostentatious wealth and force of their enemies. Jews are rich and help each other through a secret web of mutual assistance. However, the followers must be convinced that they can overwhelm their enemies. Thus, by a continuous shifting of rhetorical focus, the enemies are at the same time too strong and too weak." This is also a case of repressive tolerance. Republic TV invited a 50-50 share of guests with pro-contra opinions. But in this 8 minutes, he only lets pro-reform people speak. The pro-reform side has the government, the agriculture industry, and other interest groups on their side, which have enormous resources to form narratives and policies. For example, at the Agritechnica Fair 2025, I spoke with a spokesperson of Krone, a German manufacturer for machinery in agriculture. They mentioned that they wouldn't like to have video clips of their machineries for my video because they are planning to expand in India. Looking at their annual report for the year 2024-25, they explicitly mentioned India as a place of investment. Republic TV, initiated through Arnab Goswami in 2017, has been financed through a complex web of corporate entities. One of their most influential investors was Rajiv Chandrasekhar, member of the BJP and chairman of Jupiter Capital. Various online newspapers have reported that the chief operating officer Amit Gupta of Jupiter Capital has sent an email to media outlets owned by the corporation. According to News Laundry, the content of the email was the following: the candidate should be right of center in his/her editorial tonality, pro-India, pro-military, aligned to chairman's ideology, views, and should be aware of his governance reforms. Well familiarized with his thoughts on nationalism and governance, offers being rolled out shall be summarized and shared with chairman's office as a regard the credentials only, and the hiring managers have to ensure that the above has been ticked appropriately. Republic TV are claiming that they had a 41% viewership rate in the English-speaking news sector. Instead of representing international solidarity as an international conspiracy, Republic TV could use their reach to show other narratives.
There are 2-3 ways. One thing is that just show the facts.
Mr. Happy is mentioning that farmers are facing significant challenges with expenditures exceeding their incomes. Many of them are trapped in a cycle of debt. This leads in many cases to the sale of the land, in some cases to suicides. Over the last 20 years, Punjab only reported 20,000 suicides related to problems in agriculture. Comparably, Punjab is a wealthy state. Women and Dalits in the agricultural sector are particularly disadvantaged, like the lack of land ownership for several decades. Mr. Happy also mentions environmental concerns like the over-extraction of groundwater in Punjab, or the stubble burning issue which causes air pollution affecting nearby regions like in Delhi. He's also appealing to other parts of the society.
It is very much postmodern politics that only Dalits will talk about Dalits, only women will talk about the women. Of course, they have agency, they should talk, and they have every right. But we cannot compartmentalize. So third thing is that also need to be done, that anyone who belongs to upper caste, anyone who is urban caste class, they should have also sensitivity about equally talking about the farmers and the rural issues. Yeah.
Unfortunately, most media platforms aren't covering the suggestions made by Mr. Happy and other people, so they created their own media platforms.
The idea was to build a narrative of our own rather than giving it to the national media and then see it distorted. Why we brought out Karti Dharti was because we are living in the 21st century and women are included in the definition of being farmers. So we thought that instead of having like those secondhand stories again, given out, because I wrote a piece on women early on in November, and a lot of the stories are cut out; those are edited. That is the standard process with the, the national magazines and stuff like that. But from my perspective, because I was involved in the protest very early on, I saw how women went from being, in the village and in their homes to the protest site in Punjab, and then how they managed to, being present at the Delhi sites. And that was an evolution in itself. And I thought that a lot was missed in just editing. So we thought we will bring something out which is more organic. We told the women who were at the protest sites, like, write whatever you want to write. But we brought out 5 issues, and we divided those issues on the basis of the concerns which we wanted to address. So we gave like the topics, like this time the issue will be on this topic or on this topic. So we collected stories from different participants, women participants at the protest site. That was the idea of, publishing something which is for women by the women.
Badra ve badra ve singhu daya badra ve thal pauni ha